Hello everyone, I am Ben the Bold, and welcome back to another episode of our Icenia campaign. In our last episode, we were able to make some conquests, and I just noticed that Rome has also been attempting at some conquests of its own, although it does not appear to be going so well. In fact, Rome itself, the city of Rome, is occupied, so it's not looking like the Romans are having a good time down on the Italian peninsula. The Carthaginians are still looking pretty, well, tame. They're starting to advance a little bit into Iberia, but not too much. Phrygia still looks relatively well put together, and in fact they have advanced as well, taken out Pontus, the Seleucids, the Marians. They are still looking pretty dominant, although we are seeing this little nation pop up. We'll have to monitor that closer in the future. As far as the British Isles, where I'm really interested, we have doubled our land mass since the beginning of the last episode. The last episode was pretty long one. I probably won't do another long one. I was just super into the war. I usually try to keep these at roughly 30 minutes, but I was super into the war that we had going on. It was a really hard, really long fought battle, and we did come out on top. But that means today, I'm going to go ahead and unpause that. That means that today, though, we are probably going to focus on rebuilding our country as well as making sure that our newly conquered territories are incorporated well. We have lots, and I mean lots, of trade opportunities up to the north. That is going to be great because that is going to help us increase our treasury. We are making a load of cash at this point comparatively. My army maintenance is even on default. It's not. I have not decreased the pay. This is great. We are in a good spot. While I do think we are going to have to take some time, rebuild our manpower, rebuild some of our strength before we go on our next conquests. We are in a very, very good position to eventually take over the Isles. I want to keep my allies happy as long as possible. Now that I am a regional power, I will not be able to look for allies, at least my neighbors, anymore until they also get a little bigger. I have my first event of the new episode. Ooh, it's a religious festival. I could lose 44 gold and gain some stability. Stability is good. It also will increase my centralization. I am currently rolling in the wealth at the moment, so I'm actually kind of okay with this. And I do want to increase my centralization. Yes, I'm going to do it. As I said, I have plenty of cash at the moment. My stability is going to continue to increase. I'm going to go ahead and accept that trade offer. So it turns out I only had one trade offer, but it was for for some horses, or at least something that increased my skirmisher efficiency, or their power. So that's going to be a while before my manpower really does get back to a decent level to where I will feel confident about going to war again. So we probably do need to wait for that to pump up a little bit. Although one of the nice things about playing as a tribe is that my tribal vassals are going to have their own pools of manpower to pull from. They are probably going to build close to 3,000. I bet he ends up building one more cohort, so then I bet we have about 9,000 troops just from our tribes that we can use to go to war with. That's going to be very useful. I do have a trade route, although looks like no one's willing to trade anything with me so far. I've been talking about it for a while in the last episode. What my first building will want to, and I will want my first building to be, and I do plan on building this academy. So I'm going to go ahead and press that button. I'm actually going to go ahead and press that button twice. I want to go ahead and start pumping out some research points, go ahead and increase my promotion speed so that I can make more freemen, more citizens, so that I can get more manpower and more research points. Speaking of research points, my research ratio is still really low. I am now starting to get 1 full research point per month, so how about that? Really moving on up in the world, aren't we? I am, because I'm getting 1 full research point a month, and because I'm rolling in the dough, I'm going to go ahead and decrease taxes back to the default taxation. That way, I can just get a little bit more research. 1.2 research points per month. That's not great, but it is what it is for a tribe. let's check out. Looks like I need a new researcher. This person is going to have to do. He only has 5 zeal, but that's going to be okay. He's pretty loyal. Actually, this person is a little bit more loyal. I'm going to go with her. She had also had 5 zeal. I can't afford an invention. I have plenty of cash to do it. I think I'm going to pass on it, although diplomatic relations might be good. Just going to go ahead and do it. I'm also going to go ahead. No, I'm not. I'm going to pass and instead come down here, and I am going to build a academy here as well. Once again, I want to start promoting pops from tribesmen into freemen and citizens. My centralization's going up. I have plenty of political influence. I think the first thing I'm going to want to do is look and see if I can get a new law. I can. I can increase the output of my tribesmen, which I still have plenty of, and also increase my monthly centralization, and all it's going to cost me is 35 political influence as well as 15 stability. My stability is very high right now. I'm going to go ahead and hit this button. Keep it on with the centralization increase. My civilization value is 30 in my capital. I have plenty of political influence. I'm going to go ahead and hit that button as well to increase it a little bit more. I would like to be fairly well centralized and also very civilized. I am trying to build a powerful kingdom. I eventually want to be able to hit this embrace autocracy, which to do that I need a centralization value of at least 80 and a civilization level of at least 50 in my capital. So I have got quite a ways to do that. Might as well start now. So, as I said, we're kind of waiting around. I'm slowly building up my manpower. Before I start building up my manpower here, though, I have to replenish my armies here, and that is going to take some time. They are not suffering attrition here, though. They should eventually. Right now, I only have 12,200 or so men in these cohorts, but I have 21 cohorts available, so it's going to be quite some time before even this army is back up to full strength. And when it is up to full strength, I probably will. Actually, I'm going to go ahead, I talked about doing this last episode, I'm going to go ahead and break off my light infantry. And create just a completely separate light infantry army and take it down. Actually, I'm going to move it into one of our newly conquered provinces because it has fairly high unrest, and I'm going to assign it to the province. Or assign it to the region. So I guess if I'm assigning it to the region, since my region map mode, all of this is Britannia. Since I'm assigning it to the region, I don't necessarily have to move it up into the recently conquered province. I'm going to go ahead and assign it to the region. It is now going to help just lower unrest in the region. I know that this may be some time off, but I do want to go ahead and just keep an eye out for where I'm planning on expanding next. I have alliances with the Davunia, the Durotriga, and the Cantasia. So I probably won't be expanding in southern England, southern Britain for at least a little while. And I do have truces, unfortunately, with all of these countries up here, the Brigantians and the Parisias, as well as, who are they? The Coronovians. I do not, however, looks like some of the northern Britain has some barbarian troubles. I don't want to also have barbarian troubles, so I'm going to just move my tribal armies up to that area to hopefully hold the barbarians off if they do indeed decide to come to my territory. I do have another event. It seems like maybe because our centralization is increasing and our civilization value is increasing, that our tribesmen are becoming a little unhappy. So I think what I'm going to do here is, in this case, I think I'm okay just increasing my tyranny. It's going to decrease at a fairly rapidly, almost 0.2 per month. I'm going to be back down to 0 relatively quickly. As I said, I'm going to just form up my tribal vassals all into one army. Just in case the barbarians up in the north get any ideas about heading south, I would like my armies to be at least a little centralized. I think what I want to do is start pumping up my migration attraction for my 2 major cities down here in the south of Britain. Make these as big as cities as possible. Of course, I do have grand designs of taking the future Londinium, and hopefully turning it into a city as well, although it is currently just a settlement. Creating major cities in southern Britain should help me increase my research, which is something that I definitely want to do as quickly as possible because I am just falling farther and farther behind the research of some of the more civilized nations to the south. Oh, look, it does seem like Rome was able to handle its war, and Rome is no longer being occupied. So that's good news for them. I am kind of hoping to see a strong Rome. I feel like in this game you should probably see, unless directly influenced by the player, should see a really strong Rome that at least takes all of Italy, if not expands very similar to the way Rome expanded in history. I have another event from one clan to another. We can either start moving them as soon as possible. So one of our clan chiefs has suggested moving some of the people of their clan of one clan to another rule. It's just it's a clan against clan type ordeal. In this case, I think I'm going to go with this one. Oh no, I'll lose 1 centralization. I mean, I'll get it back fairly quickly. I mean, look how fast I'm gaining centralization. It's going up by 0.33. So 3 months it'll be back. And I could increase centralization. I would also have to pay 24 ducats. I think this is I'm just going to deal with losing 1 centralization. As I said, I'm increasing my centralization at this point so quickly that it'll be back to where it was in just 3 months. And I would like to keep my gold just continuing to rise so that I can build more and more buildings. I'm starting to see the effects of the 2 academies I built. My pop promotion speed should be very quick. Yes, my next pop will be available in December of 469. That is just a few months away. And the promotion speed is what? 13.16%? That's not terrible. I do want to create more citizens. I'm unhappy with the amount of... I still can't wait to just have no tribesmen, since I am trying to civilize. I don't want tribesmen because the more civilized my province becomes, the more unhappy they will be. Oh, so I have a pirate issue. I'm not going to worry about pirates. I have no navy right now. Although I could think about building up a navy. Real quick, while I'm thinking about it, I'm just seeing if where the barbarians are. They still look to be up in the north, outside of my area of vision, so I'm not too worried about them at the moment. To increase the amount of citizens that I'm going to have in Venta, I am going to build a library. And can I make any trades? No, not yet, at least. I'm getting very close. In just a couple months, I will be able to get my first military tradition. I might as well go ahead and start thinking about what to get there. I don't usually typically use these chariots that much. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. It's just, if I look at chariots, if I were to recruit a cohort, they're very good against archers, they're pretty good against light cavalry, and they're very good against light infantry. Yeah, that's great, but would I get chariots instead of warriors? Warriors are good against chariots, they're good against heavy cavalry. I mean, it's kind of that rock, paper, scissors game. If my enemy brings a lot of light cavalry and maybe a lot of archers, then I would want chariots. Whereas if they bring a lot of... Well, even if they bring a lot of light infantry, I would want chariots, because chariots are better against light infantry. So maybe I should think about getting the military tradition that increases chariot offense. Of course, I have currently built no chariots, although some of my vassals have. Light infantry morale is decent. Archer offense would be good. Ooh, this one's hard. Now, obviously, I will have to work my way down these trees, but if I start working my way down this far right tree, then I will be able to get 10% national manpower very soon, which would be good. If it was manpower recovery speed, that might be better in this specific case. And then some bonuses to chariots and light infantry when they're fighting in plains. Raise levies ability, culture, heavy siege ability is good, but that's so far down the tree. The morale of armies. Ooh, this national enslavement efficiency and national slave output. That slaves make money, and national slave output would mean more money, and more money means less problems. Well, sometimes. Hit and run tactic, heavy infantry and defense. Yeah, this middle line is looking pretty good to me at the current moment. It has lots of text that lower the costs, or it has two texts that lower the costs of chariots and cavalry, as well as light infantry. Archer defense, light infantry discipline. So this is kind of like a light infantry, and it'll lower the cost of my army. As you can see, I now can get this military tradition. I'll keep the game playing in the background. Army attrition down would be good. Manpower recovery speed, what I need. Although just 5% isn't a ton. Chariot morale. I might be wrong. I might be making a bad idea, but I really do want this glory of the hunt, as well as the heavy infantry defense would be good, but also the cost reduction traditions aren't bad. I want the scale the walls, but that's just so far down that if I went for scale the walls, I would really need to prioritize this, and I'm just not sure if there's enough here that would make me want to do that. I already have pretty high manpower for the size of a country I am, and I'm hopefully just going to make that even more, so I'm not necessarily worried about national manpower up by 10%. I think I am going to first at least prioritize going down the center tree, at least until I get to enslavement efficiency, or the glory of the hunt tradition. So there I am. So my light infantry morale goes up. That should make sieges a little bit easier if I decide to assault the walls. Let's go ahead and just look at the alliance situations. I know I can't go to war. I have truces with pretty much all of my neighbors. Ooh, with the exception of you. Okay. Now, it's kind of nice letting my aggressive expansion tick down. I might need to think about ways to quicken the pace that my aggressive expansion ticks down. Although it just ticks down based on my arbitrator, and it also decays by a base 20%, or 0.2%. So 0.2% of 10 is, okay, so 0.02, which makes... So let's look at my arbitrator. Can I get someone better in my arbitrator? Ooh, you already have a, what is that, oratory of 9? Yeah, no one else is going to be that. Oh, charisma of 9. And no one else is going to match that. I'm going to once again increase manpower recovery speed because I need my manpower to recover. Looks like this army is finally full. I will start replenishing this army. It needs, oh man, about 3,500 more men before I will finally even just start to tick up the manpower. It's going to be a minute. Uh-oh. Marcus will be very displeased if you do not grant him an office soon. He's the rival of a tribal chief, or of the tribal chief. Is he my rival? Yeah, he's my rival. Do I care if he's mad? Let's see what he's good at. Okay, he's got relatively high martial. Can I use him? Is this going to hurt me? He's my rival after all. This guy's good. He also will be just as good. So I don't necessarily care about pissing off my rival, right? He'll lose 20 loyalty if I don't give him an office soon. Well, I'd rather give it to this guy. Akko. Yeah, I'm going to give it to Akko. Yeah. Well, that didn't help too much. But it increased my manpower recovery speed a little bit. Cohort recruit speed, this is one maybe I can give to Marcus. Sure, why not? It's going to pump his loyalty up. His loyalty is going to continue to decrease, though, because he is my rival. So that might have been just a bad idea in general. Oh, he's very fertile, or he's very lustful. Can I just remove him as a rival? Okay. Sure. He is no longer my rival. Awesome. Keep the game going. Okay, so I could at least go ahead and fabricate a claim. They have a couple alliances, but they are people I want to be fighting with anyway. So I could use that same trick that I pulled when the nation that was here allied with the Dobunia, and I didn't want to have to fight the Dobunia, and I attacked Brigantia to instead call Dobunia in on my side. I could do that again with the, who are they? The Caravetti. However, I think I'm going to hold off on doing that, at least for a little while. Again, I'm trying to increase my manpower. In the meantime, I'm making plenty of money, but I'm going to go ahead and just reduce army maintenance to make even more money. Hey, that's how you get some money. That was nice of him. So I don't see a reason to increase my import routes at the current moment. Just so many of the people within my, diplomatic range, they either hate me or they don't want to give up their capital surplus, because we, unlike some of the nations down in the south, we have such low populations that we're not producing excesses of a lot of goods. So I don't see a point to increase my local import routes just yet. I will be building a building here soon, so I could go ahead, since this will take me about 2 years to complete. I think I'm going to go ahead and press this button so that I can build an extra building after I finish building another library. Building another library will just keep on keeping on giving me more citizens. I want Venta to be a place of scholarly learning, a place where we are really generating a lot of those research points. Which, speaking of, I have doubled the amount of research points I'm making since the beginning of this episode. Actually, almost tripled it. Still though, it's going to be another, 30 years before I have enough research points to just get the second martial advances. So, again, my research rate is very, very poor. I wonder if I went to war, who are they allied with? Just the Brigantians and the Corvinians. So if I went to war, it would just be this nation, the Brigantians, and, oh, I already forgot their name again, the Carvetii. I could maybe do that and just not include my cohorts, and instead just use the cohorts for my tribal vassals, only 9,000 men, as well as the armies of my allies. They are all in much better shape compared to me with their manpower. And instead use the armies of my tribal vassals as much more of a, just in case they are attacking me. How in the world did we go through that huge war and no one I fought against seemed to lose near as many men as me? Was it because I was just spending my whole time sieging? Okay, Camulodonium prospers. It can either get more gold, I can build a free marketplace. I don't know, what would happen if I built a marketplace? Well, first of all, let's just look at what a marketplace does. A marketplace is going to increase the commerce value. There's not a lot of commerce value in this location to begin with, so I think I'm going to pass on the free marketplace because that's also just going to take up one of my building slots. I could increase my own popularity, which is good. I think that it impacts, how loyal my subjects will be. Or I could either get the Camulodonium will either get a tax office, a temple, a forum, or a theater. Well, I definitely don't want it to get a temple, because what's the point in a temple when all my populations are druidic? A theater could be okay, I guess, because some of my populations are Trinovantian, others are Britannic. But in this case, I think just the 21 gold is going to be perfect. It's going to be what I want. And then I will instead use that gold. First, I'm going to look at my pop ratios. I am instead going to use that gold to build a library, because I want more citizens, even though they are unhappy. And I have a feeling they're unhappy, well, probably for many different reasons, but they're unhappy. Aaronidus did Tartarus, is that me? Yeah, so they're unhappy with me, I guess, but they're also happy with me. I wish I knew why. Oh well. Uh-oh. Someone's been caught red-handed, hauled in front of the court, in front of the clan council. That guy is a sorry sight. Oh man. Well, we can either lose 10 stability and have the rival of the chief of the Akai clan gain 10 loyalty, but then the chief of the Akai clan will lose 10 loyalty. Well, I definitely don't want that option because I don't really love the idea of losing stability. I also want to keep my clan chiefs pretty loyal instead of just the rival of one of my clan chiefs. Or I can imprison him. I'm okay with that. Sure. Go to jail. Go directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. I think when this finishes, I'm going to save up my political influence and instead click on this Install Province Procurators button. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just hit this button. Upgrade the city again. Let's keep the civilization value pumping. Let's also try to increase our migration attraction. We're no longer importing cloth. That's a shame. I wonder why. It's going to cause me to lose a little bit of money. I don't want that. Oh well, it can't be helped. I'm still fabricating a claim on the Carvetii. How many soldiers do they have? They have 11,000. We really are the big kids on the block militarily here, which is always good to see. Let's look at some of the recently conquered lands, see what we have to work with here. Going to, first of all, just see about the unrest. They all look pretty happy. Go back. Let's now look at population. So it looks like Veneta is one of the more populated places in the entire British Isles. That's good. And it looks like nothing that I conquered really has a ton of people in it, which is fine, I guess. Is there a single city? I wish there was like a cities map mode where you could see settlements versus cities versus metropolises. Forts, I could think about, no, I don't want to delete any forts to save money. I mean, how much are the forts really costing me? $1.50 a month. That's not terrible. What would help is if I could get some trade, but no one's able to. Could increase my omen power. That could help me since I'm just going to keep spamming that manpower, increased manpower per month. That could help me. I'm going to do that. That'll help me rebuild my manpower a little faster. I wouldn't mind getting that learning on the job invention right here. Except I don't anticipate, with only 200 men in my manpower reserves, I don't really anticipate recruiting new forces anytime soon. Yeah, these areas are just so sparsely populated. Alright, so what, we have 2 pops with 6. They're mostly tribesmen up here. That's okay. We're going to, by increasing our centralization, we're pulling more and more tribesmen, more and more population into our major cities. Look at all of the incoming pops. Now they're coming in very, very slowly. I could try increasing I could try doing some things to increase my migration attraction, but the big thing that I'm trying to do is just increase civilization value. That's going to pull more and more people into our capital. Oh no! Poor guy. He's sad. Oh, guys. He's sad. You know what would cheer him up? Going to war. He was a big war guy back in his youth. Now he's at the ripe old age of 64, and he just doesn't have that same vigor for life that he used to. Same. Still no one wants to trade. I'm going to go ahead and hit this install provincial procurators. That's just going to enhance my output for this city. How many men does this country have? 8,000 cohorts are trained up. They have 14,000 in reserves. Yeah, I want to just keep waiting. I know it's not the most exciting thing, but I just want to make sure that my manpower just keeps rising. I do have that claim. That claim should come in handy. I wonder if I could convince them to recolonize this land and then retake it from them. That would be nice. Eventually, I really want the rest of the Icenia province. Oh, religious festival. I could lose 46 gold. I've done that once before. I like the monthly centralization. I only have 48 gold, but I am gaining 1.6 per month, so that's not too bad. In about 20 months, I would be back to where I am. You just increase stability, or I could lose some loyalty. Well, he's already super loyal, so really the only difference between this one and this one is the centralization gain for 0.03 more per month. I just don't know if that's worth it for the 20 ducats. I don't... Let's see what my centralization is looking like. So I'm getting 0.3 per month. That's good. I'm not super worried about increasing that. It's already going up quite a bit. I'm just going to increase my stability because I don't really want my high priest to lose any loyalty. Where's my high chief? High priestess. Increases the strength of my omens. When's my next omen? I mean, I know what my next omen is going to be. Okay, that is quite the manpower recovery omen there. Plus 24.6%. Of course, that still only gets me a manpower recovery of 142 per month. Oh my goodness. But every little bit counts, I guess. It's better than if I didn't have the omen present. Let's look at laws again. When can I take this law? Okay, so I could get sedentary bureaucracy. Ah, is this my friends? Or my children? My children have become friends with someone else's child. That's awesome. Good for him. He looks inquisitive, for lack of a better term. Interesting. Yeah, so as soon as this gets to 35, so in about 2 more months, I'm going to hit this sedentary bureaucracy button. That's going to increase my centralization even more. It's also going to increase my pop promotion speed, which is something that I definitely want. I want that much more so than monthly political influence. Plus, I want that nice, juicy 0.1 centralization speed. I am going to have a super centralized government relatively quickly. I do like how quickly you can become centralized. If only I could become civilized a little bit faster, which I'm working on it. But if I can become centralized a little bit faster, then I will be able to abandon this tribal lifestyle and just become a full-bore monarch, which is my current short-term goal. I'm going to go ahead and change that law. Sedentary bureaucracy. It is going to hurt my stability. That is okay by me. With that said, I think that is going to be enough for today. I look forward to bringing you another episode tomorrow as hopefully Icenia goes on the warpath and starts conquering a little bit more in northern Britain. We'll see what happens though. Thank you so much. I've been Ben the Bold. You've been you. See you tomorrow.